Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Hi Anjali, how are you?
Yeah, hi. I'm good. How are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I'm good. How are you? So I think we are live now. So thank you Anjali for agreeing to have a conversation with us.
My
So
pleasure.
yeah, so this conversation is about the Geeks for Geeks School uh, and how Anjali has come up with a beautiful platform that she's having since long, and she's providing a lot of free content on the YouTube for the school students. So we'll be talking about both the journeys, how the Geeks for Geeks School is going for the kids and how Anjali is doing things for the school segment. So Anjali. You have a huge fan following. I've seen your YouTube videos, and you got such a pretty comment from the school students. So, at the very first place, why did you thought that you should create a YouTube channel and start teaching kids? So, when did you thought this first?
See, I'm teaching for last 6 years. It's been like I'm a software developer,
Hmm.
and teaching has been always my hobby. So I was teaching on weekends initially, but later I quit my job and I started teaching full time. So before like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we moved out of the country, and then I could not have that offline teaching with my students. I never thought at that time the online teaching was not that into the thing. I had
Okay.
no idea about it. But then I got to know that YouTube is a very big platform where a number of audience from remote places can come into contact with you and they can learn. So I
Hmm.
started uploading videos to help my students in India. But these lovely comments, as you said, you have read the comments. Those comments,
Yeah.
they motivated me to put more and more content, because when I saw
Hmm.
that students at distant locations, they are watching it, they are getting benefit out of it, and they're writing so nice comments, it's helping them out. So that has been motivated me always to keep uploading videos on YouTube since then. So it's been more than 2 years now I'm uploading content on YouTube.
Okay. Okay. So it's been more than 2 years. It's a quite a long journey, though you have great experience before that. So Anjali, since I'm also from the generation that was in the school since like 10 to 12 years back, right? So on that time when I was a student and you were the student, we were not having that much internet, right? If you have
No.
any doubt in mathematics question, like you have to wait for the teacher in the next in the classroom, or you have to uh, set up a coaching for you, like personal coaching, or you have to join a coach physical coaching center. But now everything is at your disposal when you click some keys on your mobile, and you can find the content in the form of articles, in the form of videos, and every good quality content, whether it's from a individual YouTube creator, or is it from good universities from MIT, Stanford. So every content, like good quality content, is easily available on the web,
People
right?
online.
Whether it's, yeah. So how did you see this difference, the orbital shift that happened in the past 3 to 4 years? So do you think that it is also having a disadvantage because everything is at your disposal, and you can't decide like what is good, what
What
is
to do.
bad?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And you need to
what?
be focused, because
Yeah.
I have got to know with, like, I have come across a number of students who they see so many things on the internet and they want to do web designing also, they want to do app development also. But see, you
Mhm.
have to be focused. If you are going to learn anything, you should be clear like what you want to do. because not only programming, the other subjects are also so vast. And if you are going to learn something, you have to have an aim and accordingly work for it. I think that online you have a lot of content, but what disadvantage people face is consistency. That is one thing, because see, if I'm going for an offline class and I have paid for that, I have enrolled for that, so I usually attend all the classes, right? If you miss the classes, your parents get to know that you have missed the class, and you also have this thing that okay, you have enrolled for a course, you will be going there, you will be attending the classes. But in online classes, especially the ones which are free, what students do is they enroll for it, they have great enthusiasm at the earlier stage, but later if they don't maintain the consistency, if they don't maintain their focus, then they lose track.
Okay.
So that I would suggest everyone who's studying online, that if you pick up a thing to work with, like if I go for a C programming course on my channel, or I go for data structures on Geeks for Geeks, so it is, the resources are available for free, but you are the one who is going to make the maximum use of it. So the students have so much at their disposal, but they have to be very sincere while using it, because we are providing you the content, and YouTube we have almost most of the content is free. Then we have quality content which are like live sessions on which can be paid also, but you have to make maximum benefit by being consistent. If you start something and you leave it in between, it's not going to help you. If you're starting something, I would say that if you're starting any course online, please finish it completely to actually know what you're getting out of it.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Now, when I was a student, like we were students, there was different kind of skill set that we were required to excel in the life, or at least so-called skills were there that you have to good in PCM, like to get into top IITs, and then you can get the like 1.2 crore, 5 crore package also through IIT. But now the paradigm has shifted, right? Now people, I am talking to a lot of students, and they want to learn the programming more because they are losing interest in terms of they don't have much interest in the biology or the chemistry, but they want to learn Java, Python, or the machine learning. So this shift has been changed. So do you, and also we have seen a lot of controversies also in the same time, like people should not at least kids should not learn the programming at the early stage because people think that it's the age of playing and not just getting involved in the competitive questions or the programming questions or the technology. So at the very first place, because what I believe that this controversy is there because many people in India don't actually know what is the programming, like what is the actual
Exactly.
meaning of the programming. So, ma'am,
Exactly.
can you throw some light on this? Like,
Sure. I would like to tell all the parents or students whosoever is listening. See, I don't agree that we are putting a burden making kids learn programming. It is like same way as we have art and craft. They learn their different, they make drawings. Their creativity come out. Similar way, if they learn programming, it's not that we are going to make them learn Java at the age of 10 or at the age of 11. There are so many tools which help you to learn the programming concept. When we say that we are introducing programming at grade 6, like the new education policy also focuses that we should have programming starting from class 6, standard 6, it should be introduced. So when we talk about programming, it's not about Java, it's not about machine learning or any high level things. That is basically, we're just teaching them how to think logically. So when programming is introduced at school level, it is about bringing your logical skills out. Like as you have creative skills, as you have skills for sports, similarly we have a skill set for logics. So this early introduction of programming helps us to know whether the kid is interested in that or not. You should not force your kid to program, but you should try if your kid wants to go into programming or not. And there are many softwares like parents might have also heard about like Scratch Junior, and we have
mhm,
other tools also that help you to start the initial steps in coding, where we don't go into very difficult syntax of the programming language or big programming languages, but with the help of small drop and no just pick and drop tools, you can learn that how to
yeah,
build a lot. So
Mhm.
if I am moving a car on the screen, everybody plays game. Everyone has played games, right? So
Right.
moving a car on the screen is not which is happening automatically. There is a code behind that. We have that we are starting from this point and the position has to increase for so much of time. Then a condition has to be checked that if it reaches here, it should stop or it should move back. So this is all what? This is programming. So we want to
Yeah.
introduce that to the kids so that they should understand the logic, like what logic is required. And that would enhance their thinking skills, their logics would be strong, that would help them in the future. So that's why I believe that programming should be introduced at an early age, and depending upon the kid's interest, you can send him because if a child wants to go into cricket, then if he's
Right.
playing cricket too much, you don't say that we are forcing the kid into sports. It's not we are forcing. If there is a badminton champion or there is a tennis champion, they all have started playing at an early age.
Yeah, and I would interrupt you, ma'am, that in the Olympics we have seen that a 13-year girl won the gold in the skateboarding. So if you have
Exactly.
interest, I mean, you can excel in the early stage also, right?
Yeah, so nothing should be forced. You should
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
force. Like parents should not do like that. That kid is doing programming, so my kid also should also do programming. That thing should not be there. But you must check if your kid has interest in it. So starting at early age will make him go like far in the future.
Right, right, right.
So
And
it can be taken initially as a hobby and then gradually we can work on it if your kid is
correct,
interested.
correct. Correct. And also in the modern era, where in the past we used to consider few skills that are very important for our career progression. Because when I was a kid, my parents used to say that learn English, like you should
Yeah,
communicate in the English, because on that time it was very important, right? If you can communicate well, and if you are good at if you scored good in 10th or 12th, then your life is set. But today everything is so dramatically changed now. As you rightly said, that the kids at the early stage in the sixth grade, they can learn Scratch, and they can drop and drag the blocks and learn the computational concepts. But
yeah.
when I talk to students in class ninth and 10th, basically, they are mostly very confused, because sometimes they have learned the basic concept, but now uh, they have been given a lot of choices in the society, like learn Java or learn Python or go in the web development framework like HTML, CSS, because many students keep confusing, because they uh, every day we learn the new buzzword like Flutter is coming, so people want to learn suddenly Flutter. Or if somebody is saying that Elon Musk is doing something in in machine learning, and people want to, so people are also following the buzzword. So how would
Yeah.
you guide those students to choose the right path depending upon your interest?
See, that is what I told earlier also. Like, we are getting so many things, but I want to do this, that, and all. And then you become like, jack of all trades and master of none.
Right. Yeah.
So there is no benefit of that in the long run. So rather, you should be focused. Pick up one thing, be it Python or be it JavaScript. Like I
Okay.
would suggest if you are in class 9th and 10th, and if you have that analytical mind, you want to go into machine learning or artificial intelligence at a later stage. So start working in Python because it's not that you will start learning Python today and tomorrow you will be doing machine learning. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen like that.
Correct.
So you have to spend a lot of time studying the language in depth, then practicing it, and then bringing it in the actual implementation. So this takes a lot of time. It is not a crash course that in 15 days you will learn data science, or in 20 days you will become a data scientist and you will start doing machine learning and all. You can't do that. So you have to be master of one thing. Don't start more than one programming language at the same time. So pick one, whichever it is. If you want to go for Python, make sure you master Python. So if you're starting, see, Python is the easiest language to start with at today's date. Like easiest in the term of syntax and easiest to execute. And it has vast libraries for everything. So you can either start with that, and if you want to go into websites, then obviously go with JavaScript. So HTML is the base which you have to do, and I guess that is done in schools usually in sixth and seventh grade only. And after that, they can focus on JavaScript if they want to go into the world of web. or app development. But if you want to go into the analysis side, then take Python and start working on it. But whatever you choose, stay focused. Don't think that you can do both the things at the same time. There would be some exceptional students who could manage it, but 80% of the students will land up nowhere if they go both places.
Yeah, so try to pick one first, and if you're able to
Yes.
do it easily, then choose another thing.
See, the
Yeah,
logics are same. Once you know a programming language in a very good way, you're expert in that. You can learn any other language in a very short span. But first, you have to be master of one properly. Like you should know.
correct, correct.
Nowadays, yeah, you must be if you are from computer science background. Like when we did our engineering, our first language was C programming language,
Yeah,
and the companies which come for placement nowadays we have so many competitive programming platforms online, and then your rank matters at the time of placement. And now we
mhm.
get the options also that in the placement you can for campus placements you can code in Java, you can code in Python. But like when I had my placements or when I started teaching also, then also major companies just required you to be a master of C programming language.
That is
So
also a very important today, man. Yeah,
yeah, that is important today. And why is that important is because there, the predefined things are not given. Like you have very limited predefined set of functions and libraries, and we learn to code from the very basic in that. Everything we code of our own. For example, if you have a list of names, I have 30 names with me, and I want to search whether a name is there in the list or not. So if you're doing C, you'll be writing the whole logic behind it. But in Python, you just call a function and it is done. You don't
yeah,
write the code. So the main thing is if you know the basics, how the things are created, then it is easy to learn other languages. So it was assumed that if your C is very strong, you learn any other programming
you
language
can
easily.
learn anything because you can learn programming like memory management. You can learn about pointers, so the references. So all these things, if your basics are strong, then you can learn any language later on. Like learning syntax is just a matter
Exactly.
of few days, right? Yeah.
Just yeah, and
So
that's why we focus too much on data structure and algorithms because
yeah.
that again enhances your coding skills.
So Anjali, do you make some content for the kids for this segment or for your channel on your channel like data structure, Java, Python? So have you created some content so our kids can
Yeah,
refer
yeah.
to?
I do have content on Python. A
Mhm.
number of videos are there, and right now I am having a current playlist for C programming language and C++
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, yeah. So kids, I mean, you can just refer to Anjali's playlist on YouTube and you can find these videos, right? And for the data structure also, like we are also coming up with a contest that is free for everyone that all over students from India can join and participate in the coding contest that we are going to happen specifically on 9 to 10 students, 9 to
That,
12 students.
that
So
would
they
be
can just freely register there and they can track their progress, how they are competing against their peers, right? So this information I want to give to everyone. Now I have last few questions, ma'am, and these are very important ones because when I was interacting, because we have a school ambassador program where we interact with a lot of students, and when I was interacting with them, I found very a common pattern between among all the students because everybody was good at C, Java, Python, or machine learning, but nobody knew who was the first Prime Minister of India. Nobody knew that who is the Prime Minister of India. And this is happening because we are excessively focusing on the coding part or the technical skills, but we are not learning the cultural aspect of like what is the history of India, like what is the what our constitution talks about, like so people are forgetting the humanity subjects and they are excessively focusing on that. So do you think that these subjects are also important for the overall 360-degree development
yes,
of your personality? So do you
obviously.
want, yeah. So do you want to give some advice to the students so they can also learn few other things also, like what is happening, what was
Yes,
our culture?
exactly. That is very important. Like being a citizen of any country, you should know about your culture, about your heritage. So it's okay that your GK is not very much up to the date, but normally in schools they have learned everything like this, and these things are important because otherwise, uh, I don't think it is not the overall development of the kid if you're just focusing on one thing. So
Hmm.
you should be master of that, but there are certain basic things like you should have basic etiquettes to talk publicly. Like, I won't say that you are very good in coding, but you're not good in public speaking.
Yeah.
So, like you told, like when we were in school, the focus was in public speaking. You should speak in English. You should talk properly. You should have the confidence to speak on the stage in front of other people. So your coding skills are good. That is one thing, but there are so many other things where you should focus. Like you said, your GK,
Right.
knowing about your country, about your hometown, and I would say public speaking, that is also very important. So you should be participating in different competitions happening in your school. So if you are in a ninth, 10th grade and you're very good in programming, but don't be a nerd. Don't sit on the computer all the time with your specs on. Don't do that.
Take participate in sports
Participate.
club. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, do participate in dance competitions, have a
Hmm.
hobby, do singing. Okay, if programming is your hobby, we agree that you enjoy that. But you should have some other activities also which keep you fresh and make you part of the society. You can't
Right.
live alone with your laptop all the time with
Yeah.
Python
Yeah.
and Java. So you have
We,
to be part of the society. So you should engage in all these activities and do participate wherever you get a chance to stand on the stage or speak in front of people because that is going to be very beneficial in long run.
yeah, because today kids are not like the 10 years back when we were just thinking about getting the jobs. But now I have seen the important characteristic among kids. They want to be creative. Like whether
Yeah.
somebody wants to become a content creator, they are making great YouTube videos on the YouTube. Somebody is doing some development or doing some freelancing activity. So people are kids these days are doing multiple things. And and to become a great creator you need to take inspiration from something because as a programmer you get the power to implement something but
Yes.
if you know about the history if you know about the past then you can build a better future as a creator as a
Exactly.
developer ma'am one more thing that I want to ask uh, because when we were like 10 years back, we were not sure what would be the primary technology in 2020. But now, should the kids should be concerned or the parents should be concerned about like, uh, let's say somebody is in class 9 today, and whenever they will pass their college, and I think future is in 10 years now for them for the job profile they can build for themselves. So do you think that kids should think about in that direction whether what job would be there in 2030 or what kind of profession would be there in 2030? So should we prepare accordingly because or we should keep building computational concepts slowly, right? What's your take on this?
See, I would say if we are into the field of programming, so like I did my college almost 17, 18 years back. So I was in
Hmm.
12, 20 years back, right? So at that time, we never thought of, what job, if it's okay, you are going to be a software engineer. That is what you think if you want to go into computer programming. But nowadays, kids are coming up with so much ideas, and they are starting up various startups also, which are getting successful also to an extent. Like many of the kids are having so different ideas. But I would say if you want to have a career in programming, if you want that you are seeing yourself that after 10 years whatever job you will be doing but you will be in this technical field, you will be in the field of programming. So right now when you're focusing, one thing you have to focus is one language, be a master of one programming language, and must do data structure and algorithms in that language,
Okay.
be
Okay.
it C, be it C++, be it Java, be it Python, whichever language you do. We have done data structures the most difficult way, I tell you. If you have
Hmm.
heard about pointers in C, so we used to learn C. There is a term called pointers. We used to refer everything through memory addresses. Data structure is the most difficult when you do it in C programming language. But
Right.
now you have so many options. You can do it in Python, you can do it in Java. But what data structures is like students won't be knowing. But then if you go to learn it, like you're starting a course, you're saying that you're having a competition. So the students who are watching it, I would like to tell you that data structures is the procedure of thinking for a problem. How do you think that you will solve this problem in the best possible manner? We have different programming techniques in that, like you might be knowing, and the students would get to know once they do. There's a technique called greedy technique. Greedy technique, we call it. So
Mhm.
greedy technique is like, I am not seeing whether my solution is going to be the best, but it is giving me the answer in the best time. I see, okay, out of these set of options, this option looks good, I'll pick that. Then I see another option, I pick that. A very simple example of this is a traveling salesman problem. The people who do data structure, they know a lot about this problem. So there is a salesman who has to, go to 5, 6 cities, and he has to cover in such a way that he covers all the cities, covering the minimum distance, right? That is the problem. Now, if I'm following an approach called greedy approach, I'm standing in Delhi and I think that okay, the nearest would be Chandigarh, so I directly go to Chandigarh. Then from Chandigarh, I see which one is the nearest, I go there, and from there, so on. This is greedy. Like right now, whichever best looks, pick that and start moving. Whereas another techniques are there, like one is dynamic programming. There, we divide the whole problem into smaller parts and we calculate the overall cost. That if I follow this path, the overall distance will be this. If I follow this path, overall distance will be this. We analyze all possible paths, then choose the best and go with it. So same problem can be solved in different ways in any of the programming languages. But if you have the concept of these data structure and algorithm, this will always help you in the field of programming. So that's why
Right.
we say that if you want to be into the field of computer programming, this one subject should be very strong.
Yeah. And as a bonus in the session, we also learned about little bit about the difference between DP and greedy, right? So you explained it with a great example, right? And one more thing that before I finish, this is for my personally for my question because I'm being very selfish that I got a opportunity to talk to you. So, ma'am, I have talked to the offline teachers, right? So, in the offline setup, teacher teaches and he or she can see the student faces. If he has taught something in an interesting way, student would react in a positive way, and teacher can sense that by watching the student in the class whether they are talking to each other, so it means they are not engaging enough, right? If teacher has not engaged them. But as a YouTuber, as an online creator, when you're making the content, you are presenting the content to the audience, and before obviously you will see the comments later on the after the class, but while teaching you can't sense it, like whether how the students are taking it, like whether you need to crack a joke to explain this a difficult concept. For example, you took the example of sailor in the DP versus greedy. So do you think such examples while teaching, or you plan in before, like you will explain this in a very plain English manner, not in that hi-fi Coleman type books algorithm? So you simplify it, you broke the thing. So how do you do that?
I don't know. It's like I love teaching, so I don't plan my sessions anytime. And be it a live session, be it a recorded session, if I have to teach something, I just start teaching, and the
Mhm.
things gradually come out. So it's
Okay.
not that I have planned that I'm going to say this or I'm going to explain this.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the thing is, like when I'm explaining something and I feel somehow like I took one example and I feel that okay, this example would be a bit difficult for students, then I take an easier one to explain the same thing. And yes, there is a difference between offline and online. There is a lot of like initially when I started YouTube, I could not. It's still date also. If I'm making recorded videos, one recorded video is of 15 minutes, right? I make generally up to 10 to 15 minutes, and I get bored after making two videos. When
Okay.
I make two videos of 10 to 15 minutes, it seems like I've done a lot of work. Now you feel tired. Okay, no, I'll do it later. But when it is a live session, I can teach for hours. So in a live session, even if it is chatting or even if those are the emojis coming out, means when you are interacting, you can communicate for hours. So offline teaching has this benefit, obviously, but nowadays there are so many platforms where we can teach much interactively.
Yeah.
And thanks to YouTube, also now they have launched a few new features like you can have live sessions only with your subscribers or only with your members. So that makes your chat box limited. Otherwise, the
Mm.
chat box was like this. You can't read anything.
Little
But
bit personalized question answer session can be there with the new
yes,
feature.
so
Yeah.
usually I prefer that if I'm uploading some videos, then once a week I should have Q&A session, so that there is an interaction. You are in touch with students, but yes, wherever we have interaction, that way teaching is a lot different. Means you can say you get 50% more energy if you are
Mm.
teaching the students whom you can see, with whom you can talk to. But if you are
Yeah.
teaching like in a recorded video, your energy in comparison to the actual live interface would be 50% less.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
my personal experience.
Yeah. So because we are also content creator, Geeks for Geeks also create a lot of content. We have
I
different
know I have
and
referred so many of my students Geeks for
so
Geeks in
that's
our
why
subject.
I wanted to know, right, how the individual content creators are making the content. And I have seen that like the individual creators on YouTube are doing fantastic. Like be it from any field, like whether it's from doing podcasts or doing a gaming channel or doing anything. So thank you, ma'am. You gave your time for this session, and we were also getting many doubts regarding like because of CBSE syllabus has also been changed, and you also made some videos, right? And in the future, if we get the time, we can also have a session on that. So we'll see if we get the time, and we if you have a free time, obviously we can start doing it in the future also. So,
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much. And ma'am, thank you for joining the session. And if you have
Thank
any
you.
questions, you can write in the comment section. Me and Anjali will try to resolve your query if you could not ask your doubt. If you're watching the recorded video, then you can obviously ask your doubt in the comments. So, thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Take
Okay.
care, all of you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
all the
Take care.
best.
Bye.